Hey guys, Graver here. What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Marvel Contest of Champions. And today we're going to be kind of talking about Alliance Quest and good teams that can be used in Alliance Quest. Now, I'm going to be using Map 5 as a reference because Map 5 is primarily what I use. And really, whenever you're looking at Map 5, you've got certain paths set up for certain people. Now, Path 1 on Map 5 has a lot of mutants. It's got a lot of mutants, and here lately the tech symbiote has been the predominant feature on that path. So what I would suggest is having a mutant on your team, preferably Wolverine. Wolverine would do a really good job against most of those skill characters on that path because he's going to bleed them out. And Thor for the tech symbiotes. I love using Thor against the tech symbiotes because he can potentially take their armor ups down quicker if you parry enough. He's going to drop their armor ups. They're not going to regen their armor ups like that. So that, and the more armor breaks that you have against them, the better damage he's going to do against that team. So I would potentially take a Thor and a Wolverine on that team, or on that path at least. Path 2, the path is really short. It doesn't really matter who you bring into that section. You can really bring about whoever you want to. You're just going to be going up. You're only going to have the potential to take out one node on that path. So it's really not that big of a deal in my opinion. Now, Path 3, Scarlet Witch or Doctor Strange are really good for that path. I know that most of the characters on that path are tech, but you've got to think in the long run of things. You've got Iron Man. As far as I remember, I don't know if they've changed that on that path or not. I haven't been on it since the update. As far as I remember, it was always Hulkbuster and Iron Man that was on that path. And if you have a Doctor Strange or Scarlet Witch, they're going to be able to nullify not only the fact that Iron Man is going to get a buff at the end of the fight to regen all of his health with Arc Overload. They can nullify that, but with Hulkbuster, they're going to be able to nullify his armor breaks as well. Now, like I said, I don't know if they've changed that or not, because I know the fact that Hulkbuster used to be in Section 2 on the far right path, and they changed that out and put in Vision. So potentially that could be a change that was made in this as well. Because I know that Deadpool used to be on the far left path at the very top node, and they changed him out to Storm. And in Section 3, that is also Storm instead of Deadpool now. So, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We're on Path 3 currently. Path 4, I would definitely suggest, that's your straight center line, straight up. Path 4, definitely suggest taking in Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch if you have them, especially Scarlet Witch if she's awakened on that path. That path used to be a whole lot harder too. Before they made the update, I know now currently that they did take out Thor, which kind of boggles my mind because Thor was an absolute beast on that line. He was the best character that they had in that line. It was Thor, Captain Marvel, and Superior Iron Man, and the line was extremely hard to play on the very first path because of the fact that if you got caught by a move by Thor, you had the potential to be stunned. Now, I know that's a really good ability on that node for someone like Black Bolt, but it was better for Thor because he did more damage if you were potentially stunned, because he could catch you with more armor ups if he caught you with a special attack. But I never had any issues running that path. As long as I had a Doctor Strange or Scarlet Witch with me, especially Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was the best one. At that point in time, I didn't have my Scarlet Witch awakened, so it really wasn't that big of a deal going up against anybody on that path with Doctor Strange. But Scarlet Witch was a little bit more tedious to fight with, especially not being awakened. So that kind of stinks. Next path over, it's really just player's choice. You've got more mutants on that path, on path 5, so Potentially a Star-Lord would be really good on that path against most of those other characters. Star-Lord, or if you're planning on running the outside, which this is exactly what I would do. I would whoever runs path 1 is going to run path 4 in section 2. Whoever runs the path 2 is going to be running just whatever they need to be running. Path 3 would potentially run the far right path. That would probably be the best place for them in section 2. Whoever does that would be running the far right path. Center path, they'll take path 2 in section 2. The mutant path, whoever takes that would end up taking the far left path once they get into section 2, and so on and so forth. The very far right path, it splits, and you've got 2 people that can go up that very far right path in section 1. Those guys would be taking path 5 in section 2. There's easy ways to coordinate. That's the good thing about this. So you want to bring in characters, and you don't just want to go wherever you want to go, because your characters can essentially be used for the next path coming up if you coordinate it properly and you play it right. That's the best thing. That's the best thing about these maps. The fact that they don't just like randomly throw in a bunch of different characters that makes it harder on everyone. You have set skills on each path, set classes on each path, so it makes it easier to pick and adjust who you're going to be wanting to go up against. Now, me personally, I think unless you have a Black Widow, the hardest path in this entire map is the very far right path as soon as you start out map 1, or not map 5 far right line, because of the fact that you've got Abomination, Spider-Man, and Electro on the path. So, I mean, if you've got a Black Widow, you've got a counter to Spider-Man, and you've got a counter to Electro. So that's the best benefit to that team there. You would definitely need to bring in a Black Widow for that section. You can get by using other characters. I always take Captain America World War II up against Spider-Man, and I don't have any issues going up against him because of the fact that we've got inherent block proficiency from the character, and he's just really badass. I like Captain America World War II, but if you can take in Black Widow against that team, you're not gonna run into any issues, especially whenever you get up to the very top section and go up against the same set of characters, but they're all buffed. So you really want Black Widow against that Electro, and you want Black Widow against that Spider-Man, especially that long into the fight. Me personally, I think for Abomination, the best character that you can bring in is going to be Captain Marvel. Now, that's just my opinion, because of the fact that, if she is awakened, she's going to be able to buff up her abilities by raising her power bar meter. So that's the big thing for me with that. I love taking in Captain Marvel for that team. It really just depends for me. Like, if I'm running any path outside of the ones that have Electro, Abomination, and Spider-Man on them, my go-to team is most definitely Captain America World War II, Thor, and Doctor Strange. That's the best tandem as far as I'm concerned. If you're not running that outside path now, don't get me wrong. If you're not running that outside path, that is the absolute go-to team for Alliance Quest for me. Captain America, World War II, Doctor Strange, and Thor. Now, if you have a really high-level Scarlet Witch that you can sub out for Doctor Strange, that's perfectly fine. Or if you want to use, Scarlet Witch in place of Captain America World War II or Thor, it's really your preference. These are all good characters. Captain America World War II, Doctor Strange, Thor, Black Widow. Daredevil is a pretty decent character as well for Alliance quests. It just really depends. Captain Marvel, definitely, she's awesome. Captain Marvel is really good for the Poison Path on section 2 on the very far left, as well as Ultron. You want characters that are going to be doing a lot more damage, so Captain Marvel potentially does more damage the more that she builds up her power bar. Ultron can evade, he can regen, which comes in really handy against those nodes. He doesn't take poison damage. That's the big thing. That whole section is poison damage, and it really stinks. Now, far right section in the top, or in the section 2, those are all power gains. But really, if you're good at baiting out attacks and you're good at baiting out abilities from characters, you're not going to have an issue going up against those guys to begin with. So you just have to be really careful with it. But personally, I really like running with Captain America, World War II, Doctor Strange, and Thor. I haven't personally had to use items in probably the last 3 or 4 weeks in Alliance Quest because of this team. I don't have to use the items. I really don't. And with most of those guys at rank 5, it helps out a ton. But I mean, really, I used to even bring in Colossus into Alliance Quest on the offense because he was pretty good against that far left team on section 1. Anytime you went up against the skill characters, he was pretty decent against him. He may not hit like a Mack truck, but if you get enough armor ups, he does. And we covered that and how to effectively use Colossus. Star-Lord's another good character that's really, really good for Alliance Quest because of the fact that, he builds up his attacks. If you can get a high hit combo, you're going to be doing a lot more damage. So I like Star-Lord for that. He does really good against the bosses in the fights. So, I mean, if you could get him up against this new buffed Cyclops, he's going to do pretty good against that. Vision's another good character for Alliance Quest because of the fact that he is going to power drain and power steal against your opponent. So you're going to potentially be getting more hits off from your special attacks and draining your opponent of them. So you don't even have to worry about baiting out their specials because he's going to drain them of it for you. Same way with Hawkeye. Hawkeye's another really good character that can be used in Alliance Quest because of the fact that he does power drain and he does bleed. But you're only going to be popping off your L1s. And sometimes it's not enough to overpower, so you don't really want to let him build up to an L3 because you're potentially backing yourself into a corner being hit with an L3 with Hawkeye as far as I'm concerned. Black Bolt's another good character to use because he is, number one, he's poison immune. He's a good character if you don't have a Ms. Marvel or a Captain Marvel. You could actually sub out those two with a Black Bolt because he is poison immune. And you could sub out Ultron with him too if you want to. I personally would go with Ultron. That would be your best bet. Unless you're using him on, defense for Alliance Wars. He's your absolute best bet to take in for poison paths. But you've also got backups in Black Bolt and Captain Marvel or Ms. Marvel as far as that whole thing goes. And really, those are your key go-to characters for Alliance Quest as far as I'm concerned. There aren't too many others that I would take in, but I could have missed some. I mean, these are just the characters that I've had to potentially, play around with and actually go into Alliance Quest with. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you guys run on your Alliance Quest team? Did I hit the nail on the head there for most of you guys? Are those mostly the characters that you all use? If not, let me know in the comment section below and let me know the benefits of those characters for you guys. But alright guys, so that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If this is your first time watching the channel, please consider leaving a sub on it. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like on it. And as always guys, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Later. 'Cause we scream, fight, hate.